All right, so when you move on into the summertime months of the year, one of the biggest things is just understanding the seasonal movement of fish. I mean, typically after you get through that spawning period of the year is what I'm going to call either post-spawn or summer. And when you get into that summertime of the year, that's when you really got to start kind of thinking about making some bait changes. As I mentioned earlier, when I'm talking springtime, a lot of times I'm sizing my baits down. I'm throwing, smaller creature baits like a fighting frog. I'm throwing, smaller creature baits like a little college craw. But when you get into those summertime months of the year, that is when you want to start bulking your baits up. One of the biggest things about it is fish have gone through that spawning period, they've gone through that sluggish state, and then they get to that state where they're feeding back up and they want to eat a bait that is worth eating. So one of my first choices is going to be an 8-inch mag finesse worm. And this thing comes in so many different colors and can be fished in so many different situations. I mean, you can fish a Texas rig mag finesse worm out on a bluff. You can fish it in brush piles. You can fish it on ledges. But the biggest thing is, with all of the technology we have today, our mapping, you want to put yourself in a situation where those fish are transitioning out of those spawning areas. A lot of times they're going to pull back out to the secondary points, the main lake points of a lake, and they're going to set up around standing timber, vegetation on the outside edge generally, brush piles, ledges, anything like that is where you're going to be able to Texas rig that time of the year. And like I said, I want to be throwing bulkier baits. If I'm throwing a bait like the mag finesse worm, I want to be throwing an 8-incher. I want to be throwing a 10 or 12-inch plastic worm on a Texas rig. Another bait that I throw a lot that time of the year on a Texas rig, it's on a Gamakatsu hybrid swing head, is going to be a kamikaze craw. I'll throw either the 3-inch version, or if I get to that position where I feel like I need to bulk the bait up a little bit more, I'm going to pick up the 3.5, 4-inch version of either the kamikaze craw or the fighting frog. So those are the things you want to keep in mind. Summertime generally requires bigger, bulkier baits. When you get into those summertime punching situations where those fish are in thick matted vegetation or thick bushes or things of that nature, I'm generally going to bulk my punch rig up. I've got a punch rig rigged up here, still like the punch skirt, but I like the Big Bite BFE as a bait that time of the year, something that's got a little bit more bulk. A Big Bite Battle Bug is another bait that I really like to punch that time of the year when it comes to summertime flipping, punching, heavier vegetation. So as far as my setups when I am talking about fishing a particular time of year, and right now we're talking about summertime Texas rigging, it really does become quite critical. I mean, generally when I'm fishing a bait like this Big Bite Mag Finesse Worm, I'm throwing this bait on a 6174 Falcon medium heavy action rod. I'm generally always going to be using somewhere between 16 and 20 pound test, either sniper or shooter, Sunline fluorocarbon. I'm always going to be using this hybrid worm hook that I've designed for Gamakatsu in the G-Finesse series, and the weights are going to vary. I mean, I'm going to generally throw anywhere from probably a 1/4 to a 1/2 ounce tungsten Gamakatsu, either worm weight or flipping weight on these baits to fish them Texas rig. Probably one of the biggest things that comes in play too is the gear ratio on my reel. Generally, when I get into that summertime period of the year, I always want to be throwing a high-speed reel. I want to be throwing a 7 or an 8-to-1 gear ratio reel, something that when I'm fishing specific targets, brush piles, standing timber, the edge of grass, I want to be able to throw, make my presentation. As soon as I get done making my presentation, I want to be able to take up line quick and make another presentation. And also you're making long casts, so when you set the hook on a fish, you want to be able to take up line quick. So I'm generally always going to be throwing a high-speed reel. So a 6174 rod, high-speed reel, Bass Pro Shop, Johnny Moore Signature Series, and a Big Bite Mag Finesse Worm is going to be my key setup for summertime brush piles and target fishing. When it comes to the flipping application, it's a totally different setup. I mean, generally I'm always going to be flipping 50 to 65 pound Sunline FX braid. I'm going to be using a Gamakatsu punch weight, which if you look at that punch weight, it is really unique. It's kind of a mushroom shape on the head. So when you pitch that in, it's actually busting a hole with that mushroom shaped head, and it's going to allow the bait to get through better, especially when you're throwing a big bulky bait like a big bite battle bug, a BFE, something that's got some bulk to it. You want to be able to get that bait through the cover and down to the fish. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be throwing a straight shank, heavy cover flipping hook. It's got the hook keeper on it, 50 to 65 pound braid, and I'm going to beef the rod up. I'm generally going to be throwing a 7 or an 8 power, 7/6 to 8 foot rod. I also want to be throwing a high speed reel, you know, something that when I pitch in there and I crack one, I can get them coming out of that heavy cover fast. So those are the main things that I look at when I'm either flipping or throwing a Texas rig offshore in the summertime.